the future.
Are you ready to crush your bookies?
Evolution.
What's up, Bookie Crushers? I am glad to be making this live stream for you again today. Alright, so let's recap how our MLB picks have fared so far this week. On Monday, we posted a 2-1 record, while yesterday I recommended to take both New York teams, and they delivered with a victory in both cases. I think the Mets won 2-0, while the Yankees won in extra innings, a very exciting game in Philadelphia. All right, so today, as you can see on top of your screen, I'm going to talk about three different picks that concern the following games: the Nationals against the Diamondbacks, the Dodgers against the Padres, a very great showdown, and finally, I will discuss a bit on the Rockies versus Angels game. Okay, so let's get started right away with the first pick that concerns the Nationals versus Diamondbacks game. Now, in this case, we have conflicting information because I have two betting systems recommending to grab Washington and one system that is supporting the D-backs. More precisely, if you are more familiar with my 19 MLB betting systems, the Nationals are backed by the Hot Bats #1 and also the Pummeled Pitchers system. Now, in both cases, they are not the best ones. In fact, the Pummeled Pitchers betting strategy is one of the worst. It has presented a minus 13% ROI in recent years. So these days, I tend to fade its picks. So right off the bat, I'm already tempted to go with Arizona. And as far as the D-backs are concerned, they are backed by a betting system called the Blowout #1, whose rules are very simple. You need to bet any team that is coming off a win by a margin of at least 8 runs if they are facing the same opponent again. Now, in the current case, the D-backs won 17-0 against those same Nationals yesterday. All right. And again, this is maybe a middle of the pack system. Now, in the end, let me tell you my pick right away. I am taking the Diamondbacks in this meeting. And let me tell you some arguments supporting this play. First of all, the Nationals will go with Mackenzie Gore, who will be the starting pitcher. He looked like he was going to have a breakout season after 2 ordinary years in the big leagues. Through the month of May, his ERA was stellar. It was 2.91. That was astonishing. But since then, he has been crashing down. So if you merge June and July, his ERA has been 6.51. So things are going very badly for him. He really looks like the same guy from last year and from 2022. Meanwhile, Arizona will counter with Zach Gallen, who has been a bit underwhelming this year. For those of you who've been following me for a while, you know that I value a lot the famous whip statistic, the walks plus hits per inning pitched. So that basically tells you how much traffic there has been on the bases. Now, the league average is 1.30, and when your whip stat is close to 1, that is very, very good. So in 2022, Gallen's whip stat was 0.91, which was amazing. Then 1.12 last year, and this year 1.25. So it's been going up, and now it's significantly up this year. He is just slightly better than average, which is surprising. But honestly, I am confident that he will turn things around and that he will go back to his winning habits. Now, there's also the fact that Arizona has been pretty hot lately. They have posted an 8-3 record since the All-Star break. While the Nats are fading, they have dropped 6 of their past 8 contests. I have a couple more trends for you. Did you know that the Nationals have lost 10 games in a row when facing a National League West opponent that owns a positive record? Now, that's the case of Arizona. They have a record above 500. So the Nationals have lost 10 in a row under such conditions. And finally, overall, the Arizona D-backs are 7-1 in their last 8 meetings against the Nationals. Now, the only source of concern for me is the fact that Arizona scored 17 runs yesterday. Honestly, I don't like very much betting teams who scored a ton of runs. Sometimes in the following day, they tend to struggle a little bit more. So that may be one of the reasons why this is not viewed as a premium pick. In fact, all three plays that I'm sharing today are not premium picks. They are all pretty good picks in my opinion, but they are not among the top of the top. Again, as you are probably already aware, if you want to get all of those premium picks, you need to sign up at mjpicks.com. All right, so that's my first pick for today. I'm going with the D-backs to win straight up against the Nationals. All right, up next, I'm going to talk about the great Dodgers versus Padres showdown, and I want to say hello to Jeff Demers, Justin, Marianne Woods, Mac Easy, and Karen Zaransky, who are here for this live stream. Thank you a lot for showing up. It's really a pleasure to share my thoughts on 3 games today. All right, so let's talk about the Dodgers versus Padres game. Well, in this case, we have one of these teams that qualifies under the comeback MLB betting system. Let's review the rules together. It mentions that you need to bet any team that came back from a deficit of 4+ runs in their previous game. They must also be facing the same opponent again today, and their money line must be better than minus 175. So in other words, based on historical data, this is not a profitable system if you are backing big favorites. So we want to avoid them. Now in this case, yesterday the Dodgers took a 5-0 lead in the first inning, but in the end the Padres prevailed 6-5. So the Padres did come back from a deficit of at least 4 runs. They are facing LA again, and their money line is much better than minus 175. So that means that the Padres actually fit under the description of the comeback betting system. But hold on, as you know, I don't bet my betting systems blindly. I always dig deeper, and sometimes I even go against the recommendations from my systems. And that may be the case today, so stay tuned. All right, so in his first start of the 2024 campaign, Clayton Kershaw limited the damage against the Giants by allowing 2 runs in 4 innings pitched. However, he still allowed 6 hits and a couple of walks, which is worrisome to me. Remember, that was in just 4 innings, so that's not so good. Also, he is 36, and so it gets more difficult for your body to recover from injuries when you reach that age. Now, San Francisco will counter with Dylan Cease, who has been a strikeout machine and who also owns a spectacular 0.98 whip statistic. Again, when your whip stat is below 1, that is really fantastic. All right, so based on all that I've said so far, you're probably thinking, man, MJ is going to bet the Padres. I mean, they are backed by a betting system, and now he's saying that Dylan Cease has been great, while Kershaw, well, we don't know what to expect. But you know what? I'm going to throw you a curveball because my pick here is to go with the LA Dodgers straight up. About an hour ago, the highest line that I saw was plus 119 with the Bet Online Sportsbook. If you are more familiar with decimal odds, that is the same as 2.19, by the way. Now, why am I taking the Dodgers? You may be asking. Well, here is one key reason, and honestly, I need to obtain some data about this betting strategy because I think it's great, but right now it's just a feeling or an observation that I've made over several years, and it goes as follows. Pitchers who are coming off a no-hitter or a perfect game, which is the case of Dylan Cease, to me they tend to falter in their following outing. This is something that I've observed on many occasions, and I probably need to hire someone or to get someone to look into this because I feel like this is a great betting strategy to adopt. So again, I don't have any actual data, but I feel strongly about this. So I prefer to go with the LA Dodgers at positive odds with Kershaw on demand. I mean, the Dodgers are still one of the best baseball teams, and so you won't have the opportunity to bet them at positive odds very often, especially with Kershaw on demand. So to me, this is where the value is on the Dodgers, even though it sounds scary to be betting against Dylan Cease. It's also worth noting that, and that played a role in my decision here, that the Padres have lost each of their past four games when they have been home favorites. So they tend to do badly when they are at home and they are favored to win. So I'm going to bank on the fact that we're going to extend that streak to five. Also, did you hear about Kershaw's career record against San Diego? He owns a 23 and 10 record along with a tiny 2.12 ERA. So he knows how to beat this divisional foe for sure. All right, so that is my official pick in this game. Now we are going to move on to another game where once again we have the comeback betting system taking full effect. Does any of you know which team is supported by the comeback system? And the answer is, well, it concerns the Rockies versus Angels game. And yesterday, if you take a look at what happened, the Rockies, they held a 6-2 lead in the second inning, and eventually they lost the game 10-7. So as you can see, the Angels did make a comeback win after trailing by a margin of at least 4 runs. They are squaring off against the same club again today, and their money line is significantly better than minus 175. And this time I am going to listen to the comeback betting strategy by grabbing the Angels to win straight up. All right, let me say a few words about this game. Now we have Kyle Freeland who takes the man for the Rockies, and he owns abysmal numbers this season. He has been really, really awful. He owns a 6.23 ERA and also a sky-high 1.60 whip stat. In this case, when your whip stat is above 1.5, that is very bad. Now the Halos will hand the ball to Davis Daniel. Oh, let me wear the Angels cap. Whoa, it's way too small. I guess my kids used it for a game. So Davis Daniel will get the nod for the Angels. He has just 29 and one-third innings of MLB experience, and may be scared by his high 5.82 ERA this year, but his 1.18 whip stat suggests that he's just been unlucky, and there is hope for better success in the future. Again, remember that the league average in terms of the whip stat is 1.30, and Davis Daniels' stat is 1.18, so there has been less traffic on the bases than the typical starting pitcher in the big leagues. And there are other underlying key metrics that suggest that Davis Daniel has been unlucky and that he will improve and that he will eventually allow fewer runs. I also love the fact that he has struck out 14 batters versus just one walk. So that is a great ratio. Of course, you are probably already aware of Colorado's woes on the road. I mean, they are really bad on the road this year. They were also awful last year, the year before. I mean, it seems like they're always a bad team as the visiting club. Also, the Angels have been playing better of late, so that's reassuring. And I've also noticed that the Angels have been hitting 286 against lefties in their past 10 games. So they've had a lot of success against southpaws recently. All right, finally, do you want to know Colorado's record on the road against AL West opponents? Well, in their last 14 games, they have presented a 1-13 record. So they've had absolutely no success against teams from that division on the road. All right, so let me recap today's picks. We first took the Diamondbacks to win straight up against the Nationals. To me, Zach Gallen is a lot more trustworthy than Mackenzie Gore. The D-backs are the better team. They are at home. They are on fire. I know the money line is not super exciting, but to me, there is still value with this line. Then I went with a road underdog. I'm taking the Dodgers to beat Dylan Cease, who I think will have a letdown after throwing his no-hitter. And finally, I'm going with the Angels with Davis Daniel, who I think will be strong against Kyle Freeland, who has been really, really bad. All right, so that will be it for my picks for today. All right, thank you everyone for showing up. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed those picks. I'll be back tomorrow for more MLB picks. So every day from Monday to Friday, I always provide some free MLB picks, and hopefully I'm going to help you to grow your bankroll because that is really the number one goal of this YouTube channel. So I would be very grateful if you could subscribe to this channel if you've not done it already. And also, if you could click the thumbs up button just to let me know that you appreciated today's content. All right, so I'm Professor MJ, a former 15-year university statistics professor from Quebec City, saying, so long, my friends.